Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, good evening and welcome to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I hope all of y'all have had a fantastic Friday. I know we've had a rainy Friday, but thankfully those rain chances dialing back just a little bit as we head into the overnight hours. So definitely some good news, which brings us to our first headline, and that is good news for those rain chances if you are wanting those drier conditions. We're pretty much seeing those rain chances dial on back as we head into the overnight hours and seeing a drier and just a much improved weekend ahead. But don't worry, that rain will be back. That's more for your Monday and Tuesday. We can push those rain chances off. Enjoy a beautiful weekend ahead here in North Mississippi. But those rain chances will try to ramp on up just a little bit as we get ready for the work week. But that fall weather will return just in time as we get closer towards Thanksgiving and Black Friday. That fall weather and winter weather definitely trying to make its way back here to North Mississippi. We'll be discussing that later on in this broadcast. But before we get to all that weather stuff, we also got to talk about our game of the week. Meteorologist Gabe is going to be giving us our game of the week highlights. But first, let's take a look at the first 12. Those rain chances, like I mentioned, keep dialing back, not as widespread that we saw earlier with those model runs, starting to back off just a little bit, just like our meteorologist Gabe predicted. Temperatures around 66 degrees by 11 o'clock, 10% chance of rain, maybe pushing to 20. But other than that, very isolated in nature. Not all of us are going to see that. Most of us could actually see a greater chance of fog occurring across North Mississippi, as some of us are put under that dense fog advisory. But we'll be waking up towards partly cloudy skies, temperatures around mid-60s, eventually working our way up into the low 70s by 11 o'clock and eventually seeing mid-70s for our highs. But like I mentioned, our meteorologist Gabe is live out in West Point, ready to give you those highlights.
Yeah, Caleb, a beautiful night in West Point, and one team walking away a little bit happier than the other. We are in West Point, and I do want to say you're talking about no moisture in the forecast. Exactly right. Dry throughout the entire game down here in West Point. But I do want to say, look at that fog coverage. Just becoming more dense as we push further into the night. So moisture, it's in the forecast, but it's just in that cloud on the ground, that foggy night heading into North Mississippi, already seeing that here in Clay County. But like I mentioned, some great highlights out on the football field for one team, the other one not exactly doing their best work on the football field, and I'm sure we are in Titletown. You can assume who came out on top. Let's go ahead and get into those highlights, Caleb. A beautiful night here in West Point, our game of the week in Titletown for this Friday night, 5A third round playoff action. And of course, a foggy Friday night at that. You see that fog settling in early in the game. The West Point Green Wave playing host to the Pontotoc Warriors in third round 5A playoff action. Let's get into the highlights. Pontotoc ball out of the gate. Cortland Pass keeps the ball on the option, somehow escapes a tackle, goes up the middle, jukes, finally brought down after a 10-yard gain. Pass should change that name to Run after that play. Later in the drive, fourth down coming up. Pass, he takes the snap, drops back, and he slips, trying to take off. Yeah, that rainy field not exactly doing favors for one of the teams. Turnover on downs, West Point ball. West Point coach trying to get his team to get a drive going. They turn to their QB, Quentin Thompson on the keeper, lets his block set up, and he powers up the middle all the way to the 50 for a Green Wave first down. Coach dialing up another big play, and he would do exactly that. Thompson on the keeper again, finds the gap up the middle, goes ahead for a 20-yard gain before he gets tripped up. First and goal, Green Wave. The senior coming up big. Pontotoc needing that goal line stand, but there was nothing stopping that offense. Michael Williams goes untouched up the middle for the first response of the game. Green Wave up 7-0 in the first. West Point fans, of course, bringing that energy tonight, as you can see right there, along with the cheer squad. Pontotoc needing a response, turns to pass, this time a pass play. He would connect with Tim Jones on a slant. Jones would take it downfield for the 10-yard gain, just short of that first down, though. But Pontotoc finally having something to cheer about. I know the cheerleaders were happy to at least get something going on the field. but that cheer would go silent as the Warriors are forced to punt later in the drive. West Point not wasting any time. They feed the hot hand Thompson that takes it up the left side for the 25-yard gain. The 5'5 senior is a big man on campus on that play, keeping the wave rolling. Pontotoc, knowing they need to stop, dial up a play. West Point would throw a dig to Ahmad Brown, who corrals it one-handed, and he ends up just short of the first down. West Point needing to convert right here. That is 4th down on the play. They give the ball over to Thompson on a keeper, and that is the last you'd see him. As you can see right there, breaking away, breakaway speed, got the first down and kept it going for 6. Green Wave take the 2-score lead, 14-0, with 7:35 in the second. Pontotoc starting their drive on the 2, not great field position, and they'd run it with Landon McGlown, who is swallowed up in the end zone. Green Wave defense crashing in for the safety, 16-0, West Point still in the second. Fans getting loud for that dominant performance from their team. West Point ball again, keeping the ground attack. They'd run up the middle, and the powerful Marco Davidson would rumble for a 20-yard run. Big boy saying, "Get off of me." Yeah, go ahead and cheer for that big-time play from Davidson on that drive. And West Point would finish it off with Kingston Branham running it up the middle, and the sophomore gets the 2-yard rushing touchdown. This offense, as you can see on the field, is literally lit. Yep, light show going on down there in Green Wave Stadium. A good one for sure. Green Wave saying goodbye to these Warriors. West Point ball again. They give it to who else but Thompson, who would follow his blockers up the left side, find the gap, back to the middle of the field, go ahead and say goodbye. That man is gone. 60 yards to the house. Green Wave dominating this game. That's an understatement. Adding another score to the scoreboard. As you can see, everyone's just waving goodbye, living up to that name. Titletown letting folks know they are still number 1, 29-0 with 3:02 in the second left. Now on the kickoff, Green Wave line it up. They kick an onside kick right here after the flag on the play. They kick an onside roller to the Warriors right here. We'll just wait for it right there as kicker lines it up. He kicks a roller to the Warriors, but they couldn't get it. West Point falls on top of it, adding insult to injury. Just straight bullying at this point. Fans letting everybody know that, hey, nobody is safe in Titletown. Getting loud there in the stands. And as you can see on the jacket, yeah, nobody's safe. And they were exactly right. The Warriors did come up short as the Green Wave take this one 37-0. Yeah, you can't spell West Point without W, and I guess you can't spell Pontotoc without an O, both of which they put up on the scoreboard. West Point coming away with this one, and they keep marching to the North Half Championship going on this week. Their win streak also goes to 21, but more importantly, their playoff run is not over just yet. Pontotoc, a disappointing end to the season for sure, but a historic season at that. They'd end the season 7-5, and their playoff run ends in the 3rd round. Warriors have a lot to be proud of from this season. I don't want them to walk away with their heads down. Keep those heads up, Warriors, and of course you will be back next year trying to take that 5A crown. But when you come to Titletown, they're Titletown for a reason, and they keep marching with number 14 in their sights. They're 2 games away from bringing that 14th crown home and get the back-to-back state titles, but they do have an uphill battle next week. They're going to be playing the winner of Cleveland Central or Holmes County Central. I was listening to it on the radio, and it was a pretty back and forth battle out there in, I believe, Holmes County. So we'll see who came out on top, and that winner will play West Point next Friday in the 5A North Half Championship. But West Point, I mean, you guys just keep marching and rolling. That offense was another level tonight. Different players making different plays, but I want to give a special shout out to Thompson because he definitely was that big playmaker when they needed a run, when they needed something going in that offense, they turned to him, and he definitely lived up to that hype. So West Point, they keep rolling. West Point, big shout out to you guys for having us tonight, cleaning up the stadium right now. Shout out to all the workers out there braving this fog and keeping this stadium looking spick and span. But a big shout out to the community. Just great talking with you guys and socializing and getting to see the action on the field and meet some great people off the field. You guys are always a fantastic time. Titletown living up to the name, and we expect nothing else than a title as we get into that 5A North Half next week and then state championship that following week in Davis-Wade. But Caleb, foggy night tonight. Fog continuing to build. I'm excited for this drive home with the low beams cranked and ready going up Highway 45. But I know folks out there need to be aware for foggy starts heading into our Saturday. I know you have the latest with those dense fog advisories. But for now, live from our game of the week in Titletown, West Point, Mississippi, I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor for Mississippi Live Weather.
Well, big thank you to our meteorologist Gabe Maynor for giving us that thankful insight to all those highlights. I know I might have to start flashing my low beams on my way back as we cross paths, as I will be taking that same route back to Starkville. But honestly, noticeably with drier conditions, not much going on across North Mississippi. I think our heaviest shower is probably just north of Oxford right here. If we just got to zoom in on it, still kind of tiny in the grand scheme of things, just over Malone. I know these are kind of sad rainy days, literally and figuratively, for Oxford, especially with the looming head coach decision with Lane Kiffin, but I know y'all are braving through it and getting ready for y'all's Egg Bowl this coming week. It's going to be a good match, but pretty much isolated showers all across North Mississippi. Good news, especially with that severe weather risk that we had in place across North Mississippi. Thankfully, we're not really seeing much of that as we get ready for the overnight hours and get ready for bed for our Saturday. But what would be causing that severe weather, and what's really not causing it, is that cold front. That's what's kind of moving into North Mississippi, allowing that lift for some of those isolated rain chances, but it's also what's going to cool us off as we continue into the weekend ahead. That's why our temperature is a little bit different for your Saturday as compared to your Sunday. Sunday definitely going to feel a lot better, but still a beautiful weekend regardless here in North Mississippi. But let's track out those overnight hours. Still that cold front just on the doorsteps of North Mississippi, seeing pretty much clear conditions all across North Mississippi. That cold front going to continue pushing on through. See that wind change from the south starting to move from the north. You can see it's kind of in that in-between phase for right now, but those rain chances pretty much anywhere but North Mississippi, more available out there in Tennessee, but still seeing dry conditions for the most part. There's still a chance for some of those isolated chances of rainfall, but most of us will continue to stay dry, but especially into your Saturday as well. That cloud cover will start trying to push back in just a little bit, and with that bringing in some rain chances, but again, you're going to be one of the lucky few to receive those rain amounts because more of us will stay dry than actually get those rain chances. And we can see that with the next 24. Most of us will have a better chance of seeing fog with those dense fog advisories placed across North Mississippi. Temperatures around 63 degrees by the time we wake up in the morning, seeing mid 70s by lunchtime, and then also possibly upper 70s for some. We'll be talking about that with our highs tomorrow later on in the broadcast. But those rain chances try to come back around in the late afternoon, early evening hours, just a 10%, showing not many of us will see those rain chances. Of course, most of us will continue to stay dry, and then we're also going to see mostly clear conditions by the time we are wrapping up our Saturday and getting ready for the Sunday ahead here in North Mississippi. But I'm going to give a full breakdown on not only your Saturday, but also your Sunday and what to expect as you get ready for the weekend ahead. It will be a beautiful one. Can't wait to break all of that down for you. All of that's coming up in 1 minute.
When you've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
By the time you see the symptoms of lung cancer, it could be too late. Now there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early. If you smoked, get scanned.
Warriors, let's go! Hey! Warriors, let's go! Hey! Warriors, let's go! Hands, everybody! Everybody, clap your hands! We're BNS, we're number one, we're the best in
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Caleb Edelblut.
Well, there you have it. Pontotoc High School was your Spirit Squad of the Week, but stay tuned because we're also going to be showing you your Band Squad of the Week coming up at the end of the broadcast. But coming back to weather, right now, current conditions around 66 degrees outside, but also feels like 66. That dew point matching the temperature That's what's going to allow that fog conditions to start occurring all across North Mississippi. Still have that southerly motion flow coming out of the south around 6 miles per hour, but we're going to start to see that change as we continue into the weekend ahead. And what's responsible for that? That cold front just on the doorsteps of North Mississippi, going to start making its way into our viewing area, and with that, still clear conditions. And this model not really picking up on many rain chances, if any, especially into the early AM hours. If we get any, they will be very light in nature, very sprinkly as we continue into the overnight hours. You can see what I'm talking about, those light greens kind of moving on across Tennessee, but for North Mississippi, most of the moisture we're going to see will be either fog and that partly cloudy skies above us as we wake up for our Saturday. But overnight lows going to be pretty much in the low 60s. We're already there. We're pretty much right there on the cusp of where we're going to get tonight. Pretty much low 60s across North Mississippi, 62 in Amory, Tupelo, 61 Boonville, but 59 Holly Springs, Senatobia, South Haven, and Tunica. That is the lowest value. I can see y'all are winning on the chart tonight, but tomorrow night, going to see lows drop a little bit more and a little bit cooler as you go about your Sunday. But coming back to Saturday, we can still see those partly cloudy conditions all across North Mississippi by the time we are waking up, getting ready for the day. Now, the cloud cover is going to start kind of pushing more north. You're going to be like everyone in the south, seeing these clear, dry conditions throughout your lunchtime, afternoon hours. But that cloud cover, it built up north, going to start pushing back south again, and with that bringing in some rain chances, and keyword some. I mean, these are the lightest shades of green that this model is trying to put all across North Mississippi. I think most of us will continue to stay dry. The best chances I can see here will probably be just outside of Cleveland, maybe during the 6 o'clock broadcast time. But if you get any of those rain chances, you were one of the lucky few in North Mississippi. We're going to continue to stay dry pretty much the entire weekend ahead. But here are those high temperatures I was talking about, pretty much mid-70s across North Mississippi, but you can definitely tell two ends of the spectrum. Out here in South Haven, upper 60s, 68 degrees, 70 in Holly Springs, Senatobia, and Tunica. But down here in the Golden Triangle region, 78 in Columbus and Starkville, 77 out there in Louisville as well. Definitely opposite ends, a 10-degree difference, but those heat and seas trying to level the playing field out just a little bit, dropping you back down towards the mid-70s, cooling most of us off a degree or two, allowing us to feel a little bit better than what that temperature is reading outdoors. But of course, we can't go a weekend without some SEC football forecast. This week, we only have Alabama playing, Mississippi State and Ole Miss having their bye weeks, getting ready for the intense Egg Bowl matchup for your Friday coming up. But Alabama hosting Eastern Illinois should be a good matchup, a easy matchup, hopefully. 76 degrees for your first play, but pretty much sticking around the mid-70s, especially with it being an afternoon game. Seeing those mostly clear skies, going to be a beautiful game, especially walking out of that stadium in the low 70s. Going to be a perfect Saturday down there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Should be a good game and hopefully walking out with a win. But if you're not enjoying some football, especially since most of our teams are on a bye week, head out to the park. It will be a beautiful day all around, no matter what time you want to start. Low 60s by 7 o'clock in the morning. If you want to wait till lunchtime, seeing low 70s, maybe possibly mid to upper 70s, especially for those in the Golden Triangle region like I just mentioned. But even into the later afternoon hours, evening hours, those temperatures will start to drop and those clouds and those sky conditions will start clearing up as well. So let's track out the rest of your Saturday evening and into your Sunday. Still partly cloudy conditions all across North Mississippi, more clear the further south you go in our viewing area, but there's that wind direction change, not that southerly motion, more northerly. And that's what's going to allow us to feel dry outside, but also cool off as we get prepared for our Sunday. This is at midnight, crossing into those Sunday early morning hours. That wind direction coming in from the north. That's why our highs very different for our Sunday as compared to our Saturday. Going to feel a lot better outdoors. But Sunday morning, see those clear skies, a perfect church commute, and that's going to be perfect all day long. That just played all the way through your Sunday and into the early morning hours for your Monday. And there we go. Some of those rain chances already trying to come back into frame, being the highlight of our show. That is more for Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. But for your Saturday and Sunday, we are staying dry and staying beautiful all across North Mississippi. High temperatures, like I just mentioned, definitely better than what they will be for your Saturday. Pretty much upper 60s, low 70s for most of us. 69 in Amory, Tupelo, Houston, Starkville, 70 in Eupora, Grenada, Greenwood, Belzona. I mean, pretty much 69, 70 everywhere. 66 out there in South Haven. That seems to be the place to be as you continue throughout your weekend here in North Mississippi. But those heat and seas still keeping the same trend, cooling us off just a little bit as you continue throughout the weekend. It will be a perfect weekend for any outdoor plans you want before it gets very chilly to have them. But speaking of those chilly conditions, we can see that on the 7-day forecast on the back half of the work week. But first, let's start off current. 75 degrees for your high tomorrow, upper 60s for Sunday. Definitely a noticeable cooling trend as we continue into the weekend, but those rain chances starting to come back into the forecast Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday will be the bigger days and best chances of rain for us here in North Mississippi. Still some leftovers for your Wednesday in the early morning hours before we start seeing drier conditions from Wednesday afternoon and on. But once we get towards those holidays, Thanksgiving, high of 55, a low of 35. And then definitely once we are stuffing ourselves, sleeping in for Friday, it will be a cold start to the day. Low of 32, high of 54. I know I have some friends out there that are excited for those cold temperatures to be back here in North Mississippi and in the southeast. But before we go, like I promised, I want to give you your band squad of the week. Check it out. Well, there you have it. West Point was your band squad of the week, but notice some of those band members had some orange ribbons on. That is for cancer awareness for a former West Point running back. Back in 2023, he was a state champion, I believe, Cayman Ewing. He has stage 4 kidney cancer, and they were wearing those ribbons in honor of him as he continues to go through that treatment. So make sure to keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he continues throughout that treatment. But of course, here's the QR codes for both iOS and Android app. We appreciate all the support that you have given us and all the feedback as well. We want to make sure that app is tip-top shape, especially for different seasons we're getting in, especially for those with hunting and everything going on. We want to make sure we have the very latest and all those graphics you need as you go about the winter season coming up. But we'll be live later on tomorrow night at 6 and 10 because we'll be back towards that weekend schedule. Very excited to spend my weekend here with y'all and to talk about all these beautiful and dry conditions we're going to experience, and then also to get you prepped for that rainy start to the work week ahead. We'll be covering all of that Saturday and Sunday at 6 and 10. So enjoy the rest of y'all's Friday. Have a fantastic start to your Saturday, and I'll see y'all back here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 6 and 10.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.